Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arena of Legends Team Ace Invitational. Again, if you missed the other broadcasts, this is an invitational tournament where every team, all 10 of the top teams here in Korea, sent out 2 of their best players, their 2 ace players, to participate in this tournament, and they've been arranged into groups of 5, and 2 of every group is going to be getting out into the quarterfinals, so that's how it works. This is Group C. We've had 2 sets of groups already. This is the 3rd group, and so far it's been extremely exciting. Kaldor, how have you been liking the games today?
Quite well. I mean, some of them were a little bit weird. We already talked about that during the break, especially Lennox seems to be a little bit off today.
Yeah, Lennox is really strong, but he's just not been on top of things thus far. GanZi, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's going to
Here we go. At the bottom left of Crossfire, in red we have Slayer's GanZi.
That's right, and up here at the top right is the Protoss player, the Protoss artist formerly known as Songho. It is TSL Killer.
Killer played really well in his last Terran versus Protoss. He had to face GOMTV and was able to take him out on Tal'Darim Altar. Now we have Crossfire, and of course GanZi is a different story, but still Killer looking strong today. He had some trouble against Donragu in the matchup against Zerg, but now we are back with a TVP, and yeah, Killer has to prove that he's able to repeat that impression that he made on Tal'Darim Altar. We have 2 second gateway, 2 gates and 1 core. The core a little bit later.
That's kind of interesting. Usually you see the does the core actually after the second gateway? I didn't see.
Yeah, built the core after it.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd, but
oh, and a really fast command center for Killer right after that barracks. He started with a command center. He took gas, so usually what you would do is go for the barracks and then you get the command center before taking gas so that you can rely on submarines. He doesn't really care for that. Builds a bunker now in order to be safe against early aggression, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Because Killer is starting with 2 Stalkers, chrono boosting them right away, and he will try to put some pressure onto the Terran play, and he might succeed doing so. Even with that bunker in the game, he can just run by the bunker and to try to kill SCVs in the main base. So this is going to be really interesting. Killer playing pretty aggressive.
Yeah, GanZi does have that bunker up though, so that's really important, because otherwise those 2 Stalkers could actually do a lot of damage. They're going to arrive when there's only about 4 Marines there, and so those could do some serious damage if the bunker wasn't there. Just find the bunker and just take some shield damage in exchange for damage on that bunker, and then falls back. So smart by Killer, and I like this build. He kind of transitioned out of it. He just got, it was a little rush to get 2 Stalkers out very quickly, and then he expanded off of it.
Yeah, the thing is that he lost all his shields, basically dealing no damage at all. I have no idea why he started to approach that bunker again. He could have just waited for those 2 additional Stalkers that he just built and tried to run into the main base, which is pretty risky as well. But attacking the bunker straight ahead didn't make really any sense at all. Now he has to wait until the shields regenerate. At the same time, we have Killer on 2 gas. The expansion, Moltrop already mentioned it, has been built. And of course, GanZi not only relying on Marines, he's getting a tech lab as well now. Yeah, and I like the idea of Killer. I like the idea of getting those 2 Stalkers early on in the game, but GanZi was prepared for that. He went for that expansion play, played it pretty safe with that bunker in position, and that already paid off. Getting Stim now very, very soon, whereas Killer is transitioning into a robo play, getting additional sentries for the force fields.
Yep, and you know, he's going to get that robo up, and we're going to probably see him make an observer first, I'd imagine, try and figure out what GanZi is up to, because right now he doesn't really know what GanZi's true plan is, and it's also just precautionary. He doesn't want to get caught by some cloaked banshees coming from behind those Marines or something like that that's going to catch him off guard. Sometimes we do see players, Terran players, go for that a little bit later. Usually we see it in TVT, but sometimes they'll go for the cloaked banshees after their expansion.
Whoa, really early Ghost Academy. I like it. Getting, at the same time, already getting the combat shield. So we have Stim and combat shield being researched at the same time simultaneously. So this is pretty nice. There is no factory, no Stargate, nothing like that. He's going for an early Ghost Academy and a very well-timed push with the bio units, and especially those ghosts in the back for the EMPs can be deadly to a Protoss player. So Killer needs to be careful. He didn't scout that, of course, but he has 1 observer on the map in just a few seconds. And will the observer be able to scout that Ghost Academy in time? The first 2 ghosts are already being produced.
Now, this is an interesting situation. GanZi, he it's kind of an important game for him in the sense that well, obviously it's important for both these players, but GanZi he hasn't been practicing for Protoss that much. He hasn't been facing Protosses in his tournaments lately, so he might not be as practiced in this matchup. So this build, I'm interested to see how he executes it, if it's something that he's planned a lot, or if this is something that, you know, he might not be too comfortable with. So we're gonna find out here soon. Pretty soon though. Second observer is out.
And have a look at the bases of GanZi. He didn't take gas at his natural. He's just focusing on getting a lot of Marines, getting exactly the amount of gas he needs to get those ghosts, and of course he has already 2 of his engineering base getting the 1-1 upgrades. This is going to be a really well-timed attack, and if he is able to get to his opponent's base in time, he will have a huge force entering right before the first Colossus is out. But even if that Colossus is in the mix without the extended thermal lance, its range will be only 6, and he will be able to take that out with some Stimp Marauders and Marines, though this attack could be it. Killer needs to be really careful. What's happening in the next few seconds might actually decide that game. Even though now GanZi is taking that gas, transitioning out of his out of that attack maneuver that he's going to execute right now, but that might be able to deal a lot of damage to the Protoss player already.
Yeah, that's a really strong army right there. It's really deadly. He's got +1 weapons and armor on the way right now, and he's actually a little bit ahead in those upgrades.
Killer is getting Killer is getting photon cannons right now, so he spotted that army already, and here's the scout by his opponent, and yeah, GanZi just waiting a little bit. He knew that he might have been able to take out his opponent, but as Killer is preparing exactly for that rush, GanZi is taking it a little bit slower, is now just transitioning out of that ghost push that he originally planned but didn't execute so far. He's still waiting for the +1 attack and armor upgrade, getting a 3rd base and the starport for the medivacs, getting the armory for additional upgrades for his bio units. And no, he's not going to attack Killer just yet.
No, I thought he might be waiting and he was going to attack at +1/+1, but he's in fact just going to hang back and use that for control. He does have a couple medivacs out as well. Are we going to see those 2/2 upgrades going for GanZi pretty soon, or is he going to let Killer catch up?
To be honest, I really like that he didn't overcommit to his fight, that he just went for his build, got those ghosts, knew that he would be really strong against aggression of Killer and used those ghosts a little bit more defensive, but at the same time he could have dealt quite a lot of damage to Killer if the Protoss player would have played too greedy But he realized, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to kill him right now. He has a lot of sentries. If I'm not able to EMP those sentries, he will cut off my army at one of those choke points, and then I might lose too many units to hold off a push by the Protoss player. So he actually retreats a little bit, just tries to get that third base, and is at the same time also transitioning, is getting additional tech, the +2 attack and armor upgrade that we see in production right now. Killer, by the way, is doing exactly the same, and now trying to get a Nexus. So yeah, I really like that by GanZi. Gives him a lot of options to go to what to do in that game.
Yeah.
So really smart play by him.
And now he has to he can't attack now that the Colossus is out. Also, it's just too risky that Colossus can do so much damage to his Marine heavy army. And now there's actually 3 Colossus out. So yeah, he has to wait for lots of Vikings before he can engage. So he's just kind of posturing in the middle, maintaining that position while he gets a third base up in the bottom right.
One of the main factors in the last game that Killer played against Terran when he faced Jakji was that Jakji actually never had the same upgrades as Killer, so that upgrade advantage of Killer was a very, very important factor when it came down to the fights, and why Killer was able to take that game from Jakji. But GanZi is already getting towards +2/+2, and he will probably research +3 and 3 upgrades straight after he finished those two. He's following up with another expansion, already getting that 4th. I really like GanZi's play right now, and Killer, ooh, he definitely has his work cut out for him.
He certainly does, and yeah, you're right. There's not going to be a point where Killer has an upgrade advantage over GanZi until maybe, you know, if he keeps chrono boosting, he might get 3/3 out earlier or something like that. But it's going to be very tough for him to get ahead there. So GanZi is going to be in good shape in that sense. He does have a lot of Vikings out now. There are finally some Stalkers joining the mix. I was just wondering about that. Needs those Stalkers, needs something to hold back the Vikings. Otherwise, the Vikings will just slowly and steadily pick off his Colossus, and that's the meat of his army right now, is those Colossi.
This is a really tense situation. GanZi is nearly max. He's on 193 supply against 180. That's that +3 attack upgrade being researched. Here we go. GanZi decides to engage. Guardian Shield immediately focusing down the first Colossus. The second one dies as well. And Killer losing a lot of supplies, down to 129 against 177. More Vikings join the battle, take out those Colossi. And Killer is losing his whole army, losing everything right there. And this looks really promising for GanZi now. He can advance toward the third base of his opponent and might be able to take out that third base of Killer.
Yes, very smart of him, not just going for the kill. He's going to go for this third base. Oh, hits a pylon, kills off the pylon where the warp-in was happening. So now Killer definitely does not have the army to deal with this. He is definitely going to lose that third base. Blink just finished, but it's not there in time for him to do much damage with it or do any sniping there. So GanZi takes a commanding lead, and Killer is just going to try and counterattack. Nope, what's he doing? He's just kind of posturing around in the middle here. Killer is so far behind right now, but this is kind of a situation where he was in against Jakji as well. He managed to come back, but I think he might be a little too far behind. GanZi with the Vikings chasing the Colossus down. This could be the end right here.
And that's probably it. Here's Killer on 70, on 80 supply against 170. And once again with another stim, GanZi is just moving in, taking out the Colossi and the Stalkers as well. And this is it. GanZi with a very, very nice play on this map on Crossfire, waiting quite a while until he finally attacks and eliminates everything that Killer has on the map.
Beautifully played. And the difference that I saw between that game and the game with Jakji is that GanZi actually had enough Vikings to take out the Colossi quickly, whereas Jakji had didn't have enough Vikings, and his Vikings got taken out by Stalkers, and so the Colossi survived to hold off his army. And GanZi was able to kill those Colossi very quickly though, so he's going to go ahead and take the win very convincingly over Killer, and is going to be at a 2-1 score in this group, whereas Killer falls to 1-2.
We have the next match coming up. It's going to be Don Ragu against Jakji, another Terran versus Zerg, which will take place on the new map, and the GSL will take place on Carnage.